And thank God Lynn called, like, right off the bat early in the show so we don't have to sit around and holding our breath.
Well, I heard my name.
Yeah.
So I responded.
You're in Florida. I can't believe it.
I love Florida.
Yeah, you're the one.
I'm the one. Well, you know, I'm old.
Yeah.
And I live in New York, you know. I don't want, it snows, it's cold, it's terrible. I never get to go out.
It's sunny here, sweetheart. It's 20 below 0 Celsius. It's -4 Fahrenheit. It's colder than a witch's behind.
And you don't mind. See, it's wherever you live.
Yeah.
You hate wherever you live.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
I sure hate it there, I'll tell you that.
I
like
think
poison.
It's the grid. I'd probably hate it if I lived here.
Now, you didn't see, I know you didn't because I already emailed you on this, you didn't see Gore Vidal on the Crossfire last night?
No, I didn't. Do you know they replay every other show on CNN later on, except not Crossfire?
Thank goodness, because you probably wouldn't be among the living right now. You would have probably blown your brains out if you saw that. Why does somebody with his brilliance, with his intellect, although he is looking very, very old and fidgety and nervous, but why does somebody of his brilliance demean himself by going on there? Because all they do on that show now is use people as props. And Carville last night, the veins in his forehead were popping out. He and Carlson sit there and scream and holler in a desperate attempt to get some audience. And all they did was use Gore Vidal as a prop. And he just sat there like, what happened to me? You know, it was very sad.
See, because Carville is supposed to be on the left, but he's a tool of the establishment too.
Yeah. Well,
he isn't on the left. There is no left.
He's the tool of the entertainment establishment, and that's all that show is all about. It's got nothing to do with, politics or with personal convictions. It's only got to do with, like, let's put on a big show and get crazy and see if we can get some numbers here.
Yeah, but they have no ratings.
CNN?
See, the Crossfire, CNN has ratings. Crossfire has no ratings. Nobody watches it.
They don't do too bad.
Well, they do better than Donahue. They still have a job.
Yeah.
Poor Phil. Did you see Rosie?
No.
You don't like Rosie anyway.
No, I don't. She's a disgusting pig, a cow.
But she was so great with Donahue. She was so great against the war. She was wonderful.
Because I agree with her about guns in the war doesn't mean that I like her. There are a lot of people that may have that opinion. Doesn't mean I like them. She's disgusting. She's nauseating.
And she's leaving Florida.
Oh, thank God. There's the best news I've heard in years. Leave it to Lynn Samuels to give us a good piece of news. Rosie O'Donnell, next, if you can tell us that OJ is leaving, we'll have a party. We'll have a parade in the streets.
Well, she's leaving or she's trying to sell the mansion. You know, it's so hard these days to sell those mansions.
Yeah, I know. Well, times are tough now that no more magazine, no more TV show.
But she's leaving. She doesn't want to bring up her children in a state where they don't allow gay adoption.
Why didn't she adopt like 15 or 20 more would be a good idea?
Because I think her girlfriend doesn't want any more.
Yeah.
I think her girlfriend thinks that they have enough. What are they, at 4? 3?
I don't know. I've stopped counting. I really don't know, and I don't care. I really feel sorry for them, to be honest with you.
I don't know. They have a mansion in upstate New York. She's selling her fancy New York apartment, too.
Yeah.
She's just going to stay in Nyack, and she bought Helen Hayes' old house.
Now, did you inherit like millions of dollars sometime along the way because, WABC screwed you over and canned your ass, and now you're doing that weekend thing on that Long Island station, WLIE, that is that the name of the station?
Yes. That's for Long Island Expressway, not for lie.
Yeah. Oh, is that what that stands for?
Yes,
I thought it was the big lie.
We thought it meant lie, but we don't have to.
That's what we're going to change it at QAM. We'll steal our call letters. WLIE, we lie a lot. That would be good for us, especially in the morning.
Fox ought to change their call letters.
Mm-hmm. So, how many people actually get to hear you on that station?
Not many. There are only 1,100 watts, but Alan Combs' new radio show is on that station, too.
Yeah. Have you met him?
Oh, Alan, I know Alan for years and years.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing.
Another one. I like him. He's a nice guy, but he's supposed to be a liberal, and he's just such a wimp and a wuss.
Wimp and a wuss. That's right. Who was that old guy that used to be on Crossfire? The old guy with the white hair that looked like he had one foot in the grave. He looked like Alan, our first caller this morning from Fort Myers.
Oh, I forgot. When it was really at the beginning of Crossfire.
Yeah, they had Michael Kinsley on for a while, who's really wimpy and twerpy.
Yep.
And then they had this old guy who was supposed to be the liberal, and he used to like snooze in the middle of the show. He'd fall asleep on camera.
I forget who it was. I didn't have cable TV then.
So anyway, you love this article, Liberal Talk Radio, It'll Fly Like a Dodo by John Nichols in the Madison Capital Times. It's on the Common Dreams website. And he's right on target. There's no market for it. I mean, I know you'd like for a market because you'd get onto it, which would be great, but there isn't any market.
I wouldn't get onto it.
No,
what are they looking for? They want outflanking. They don't want anybody who actually knows how to do radio.
Yeah.
They're not looking for you. They're not looking for me. They're looking for stars. And you know what else I think? I'm sure you figured this out. That they want somebody who's going to just give the Democrat Party line.
Right.
You know, they want somebody to repeat, whatever, Tom Daschle is thinking that day. Well, I wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. And neither would I.
So, where are we? We don't fit in. We're like two misfits.
Yeah, you're right. Two misfits. That's why we email back and forth 20, 30 times a day, because nobody else will speak to either one of us.
That's right, because I never go out.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm here, I lay on the beach. But in New York, I don't go out.
Like I told you, keep your eyes open, honey, if you're going to lay on the beach on Miami Beach.
Isn't that amazing?
We want to keep you alive. They might run your ass over. In fact, there might be some of those right-wingers say, oops, that was that Lynn Samuels bitch we just ran over.
Yeah, well, I'm not as easy to run over as those girls. They were pretty, flat to the beach.
Yeah.
Well, me, you saw me. I'm kind of chubby.
They were French, too, don't forget.
Yes, so they're probably yelling, how do you say stop in French,
I'm hoping it was only an accident, but I do keep in mind that they were French. Now the new deal is that up in Palm Beach County, did you see this story in the Sun Sentinel? Well, you wouldn't see the Sun Sentinel where you are. French fries are feeling the heat in Palm Beach County. County Commissioner Bert Aronson wants to go after French fries. He says he won't even mention the name. He wants to change the name to Freedom Fries or American Fries. I mean, with all the other things that are going on in the world, this is the kind of silly asses we have running the government in South Florida.
No, that's very important. That's nearly as important as the Robert Blake interview tonight.
Yeah, pretty close.
I think Freedom Fries, didn't it start, when I had the story on my website, I think it started in North Carolina. And now they're just all copying.
Yeah, it filtered down.
Now they're just getting on the Freedom Fry bandwagon. It's when McDonald's does it that we know we're in big trouble.
McDonald's got their own crosses to bear.
Well, why? Just because you go in there, I don't know about down here, but New York, you go in and you say like a double cheeseburger. And they say, oh, you'll have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
They never have anything cooked. And you go, well, this is supposed to be like fast food because it isn't good. So you're not supposed to have to stand there for 5 minutes while they cook the fries, cook the hamburgers.
Well, and then that's what Burger King thought that they were going to get him on, that whole business about have it your way, and all this business about hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, special orders don't upset us. Remember that in the beginning? And then they come to find out that it was okay that you get whatever you want, but it tasted like rubber, like they were slicing up Goodyear tires.
Well, they all taste like it. The whole point of that food is just for the fat. That's what tastes good, the fat. They want to just sell the fat.
Fat on a bun sounds good.
It sounds good to me.
I bet you Al Goldstein would like to have
Every time I sit down, I say, there's fat on a buns.
Doesn't Lynn sound like she's auditioning to fill in for the next summer?
Sure. Come on down.
I'm not. That's George's job. I'm a very uncompetitive person.
That's the problem.
And I don't, yes, being a woman doesn't help either. Not that I want to get into that feminist stuff.
I don't understand why you didn't maybe you did, I don't know, file a big lawsuit against WABC?
I'm thinking of it, but you can't prove anything.
Okay, hold on. Let me do the break, and when we come back, I want to encourage you to sue their ass, and then I'll take my share, okay?
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah, let's keep Lynn on for a while, okay? And let's,
But what about all these other calls?
That's my point. 9:46 at 560 WQM. Lynn Samuels is on with us on the phone for a little bit because she's on the beach, getting ready to go out and bake in the sun.
And fry.
Fry like a beached whale.
Yes, that's perfect. Well, you've seen me. We could all lose 40 or 50 pounds, couldn't we?
You betcha. We certainly could. I don't want to say that I had some Nestle's turtle ice cream the other day. You'll get very upset with me, but
I look for that all over New York, and I know I'm never going to find it.
Sorry. Best thing that ever happened to you is not finding it.
It's
And
got
the ice
like
cream,
the
too.
pecans and caramel and everything.
Getting back to WABC, I don't want to talk about food. I don't want to do that, because then you'll go out and you'll go on a binge and you'll blame me for it.
No, I won't.
What actually happened there on WABC? Can we talk about this, or?
Well, yes, they've paid me that extra 13 weeks, or 6 weeks they had to pay me. I could say anything.
Okay.
They just called me up and said, we're canceling your show because we can't afford you. It's budget cuts.
Yeah.
And I said, excuse me, I worked 1 day a week. You know, I made like $25,000. This is Disney.
Right.
And I said, but I have higher ratings than, well, I don't want to mention, but, you know
who she should have talked to, George?
Eisner?
Yeah.
You know, I have higher ratings than certain other people.
Yeah, why can't you say who you're talking about? Why don't be a wuss?
I don't want to hurt his feelings. Oh, I guess he did. Mark Simone. You know Mark Simone?
We don't even have any idea who that is.
Oh, see, well, good. He does, though. If somebody says, well, I have higher ratings than him, I had higher ratings than this guy Steve's weekend show. I had really great ratings for the weekend.
Right.
And he just, you know, my boss, Mr. Boyce, just kept saying, well, we can't afford it. It's just budget cuts. And that was it.
And so how do you know the real reason why they canned you?
Well, I don't. That's why I probably can't sue them. Because they gave one reason. Now, I think bashing Bush and, you know, reminding everybody week after week he wasn't even elected.
Right.
Leading us into war. Taking the economy down the crapper.
Right.
You know, looking back nostalgically, you know, at Monica and, you know, everything going on, you know, those were the glory days, weren't they?
They sure were compared to this. You better believe it.
We were happy. Everybody had money. There was no war. You know, Clinton was trying to make peace. You know, what a horrid 8 years that was. So I think that, and you know, I'm not, George will love this, you won't. I'm not like the biggest fan of Israel. So I think all those things, you know, kind of,
what do you mean George will like that and I wouldn't like it? I ripped them an ass yesterday right here on the show.
A damn good one, as a matter of fact.
You're damn
but
right.
I think I'm more like, even further than you. I think I'm more like where George is.
So in other words, you're becoming an anti-Semitic Jew in your old age? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you know, they've...
Anti-right-wing religious fanatic.
I'll tell you one thing. If you do move to South Florida, you'll become anti-Semitic in about a week and a half. I guarantee you that.
Oh, every time I go into Publix, what is with them running into you with their shopping carts? What is with that?
It's the demolition derby.
She hasn't heard about the ankle paramedics at Publix yet.
Right.
They're standing by to help you out.
It's like amazing because that's something, it doesn't happen in New York. Different things happen in New York, but you can go into a supermarket without half the people just bashing you with those carts. So that's why I mean, you know, so they said they fired me for budget reasons, but it's interesting that they fired Gloria Allred off KABC around the same time, and they fired the Washington, D.C. station, WMAL, the ABC station. They had a liberal woman named Victoria Jones, and they fired her. So it did look like a purge of liberal women.
Just another series of coincidences.
Yeah, probably. You know, it was just, you know, happened by accident. You know, and I called a couple of lawyers, and you know what they all say? You should never sue for sex discrimination. Because I was going to sue, you know, because I'm a woman. They all say it's better to do it for age.
How about both? How about being an old woman?
Yeah, well, that's good, you know, because God knows I fit in that category.
An old Jewish woman, an old Babushki. How about that? That would be an original lawsuit.
Yeah, they have Jews on ABC. They're up to their behind in Jews.
Don't let Disney. I guarantee if Disney was still alive, he'd be rolling in his grave.
Well, but they're all right-wing Jews.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't being far enough to the right, as you get further to the right, it wipes out your Jewishness as you go.
Yeah, that could be it, like Richard Pearl.
Oh, Paul Wolfowitz, I guess. Eisner?
All of those guys.
Oh, so, I don't know. Plus, you know, people keep saying, well, it's their radio station. How can you sue them? They can do anything they want. So
now,
I'd love it. If I could sue them and get money, I'd move down here.
You were one of the few people that really enjoyed last year, unless you were just making it up, about when I was reading on the air for 4 hours every day doing those bedtime stories. You're about one of a handful.
I know.
George enjoyed it because it meant he didn't have to do anything, but.
I know, I did like it. But I hardly ever read articles on the air.
Yeah, the audience hated it.
I know, that's why I hardly ever do it. And when I do it, I insert my own comments about every 3 words.
Yeah.
That article I have up today, that Robert Fisk thing about CNN, how CNN is going to censor the war news.
Yeah, I got that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great article,
in fact,
but
I got
if
it from
you read
you.
it, the whole audience, would be in a coma in 5 minutes. You have to trust them that they're going to read it themselves.
But they're not. They're not going to read. Are you my audience? You've heard the calls that I get. Now, you tell me you get intellectual callers in New York? It is New York.
Something I used to. I did. ABC, WABC was like not such a stupid station when I went there. Like 14 years ago, and even, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. But the more they put on, like, just right-wing propaganda, the more any audience with a brain stops listening.
Mm-hmm.
So I did used to get pretty smart calls, but not toward the end. Then you just, how can you insult Bush? Why don't you forget that he wasn't elected? Forget this is the only president ever put in office by the Supreme Court. Pretend that happened all the time.
Yeah. That's why that David Brock book is so good, because it's got the whole background of the Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas story and what really happened.
Well, there's so much in that book that's not true, Neil, that I don't know what I can trust.
Well, such as what?
Well, I don't know, such as comments about a friend of mine.
It couldn't be Matt Drudge, could it?
Well, it could be.
Yeah.
Well, so none of that is true, so it really, kind of makes me distrust Brock.
So in other words, he made all those stories up?
I would think so.
Yeah, well then why doesn't Matt sue him if he made that stuff up?
Because when you're a public figure, you know how hard it is to sue somebody.
Yeah.
So why bother?
Tom Cruise did it.
Yeah, Tom Cruise got millions of dollars for it.
Yeah, but nobody read the book anyway.
What's that, the David Brock book?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't do that well. It was, on the bestseller list for like a couple of weeks. Really.
So in other words, you don't believe the stories about how they used him to destroy Anita Hill?
I believe that some of it. I don't know. Obviously, they used him, because they would use anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's just because when you know some of the people somebody's writing about and you know that he's lying, the political stuff, I believe most of what's in the book.
Mm-hmm.
The political, even that story, who is it, Laura Ingraham, supposedly drunk, crawling on the floor?
Right.
Yeah, well, see, that stuff I just go, all right, David. And he was in a mental institution while he was writing it or something, which kind of takes away from his credibility.
I think it adds to it.
Oh, you do?
Well, you follow what I'm saying.
Well, I don't.
Que sera, sera, I guess we'll just pick and choose. Whatever sounds good, we'll believe that. And the
No,
rest
I
of it we'll just
believe
toss
some
out.
of it. You know what the best book is? Did you read The Hunting of the President?
No.
Oh, my God. Oh, you got it. I mean, it's old. I don't even know if you can even still get it. It's Joe Conason and Gene Lyons.
Yeah.
And it's the history from way back in Arkansas, how they went after Bill Clinton. Like only maniacs like you and me could even get through that book. Because it's got everything going back, to when Clinton was governor. And it just shows, how they made it all up. They were out to get, it's horrifying to read that book. You would love it.
The Hunting of the President.
Yeah, Joe Conason and Gene Lyons. And they're making it into a documentary movie.
Here in Toronto, we have a place called the world's largest bookstore or something like that. And it is. It's humongous. It's like 3 floors. We've got every book that's ever been invented. I'll find it.
Well, plus you can also, you're like me, you want instant gratification because you can probably get it from Amazon or something.
No, I can't wait that long.
Yeah, I can't either. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
And New York practically has no bookstores anymore. That's another interesting. There are no bookstores in Florida. There are no bookstores practically anymore in New York. Because everybody has to watch Joe Millionaire. Who has time to read a book?
There you go. Okay, I'll let you go. Have a good time. Don't fry too much on the beach, and keep your eyes open, Lynn.
And watch your throat. Wash
Okay.
your throat. Tea with lemon and honey, darling.
I'm drinking it right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
I'll email you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Watch your throat. I wonder exactly what you meant that.